So everyone knows when you send things up to space, it's not cheap.
Today's episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat, we head over to Tucson and talk to our friend Julie Bonner from Freefall. They're doing some really interesting stuff by launching some satellites into space and bringing us consumers 5G capabilities. They're all about just moving that data, which I'm all about. Let's dive right in. That's cool. So as we talk about Freefall, what is Freefall? What are you guys doing, and what are you bringing to the world?
Freefall is developing new antennas for space and satellite communications, as well as on the ground in the 5G wireless community. We're developing the hardware here. It's a unique design that's unlike anything you've seen before. And the technology actually spun out of the U of A. So our co-founder, Chris Walker, is a professor of astronomy at the U of A. And he connected with our president, Doug Stetson, on a NASA project called Gusto a while back. And from them getting together, realized that what Chris is doing for space exploration, as far as like terahertz astronomy, that could be applied to communications. And so it's very out of the box thinking. Chris was used to studying, like he's going to be studying dark matter and interstellar, like particles in the sky. Yeah. But through these large telescopes he was building, he realized this special design he's doing can help improve communications, so help move the data better from like space back down to Earth and vice versa. And so we're taking those concepts and applying them to move the data better in a more efficient way.
That's cool. What kind of data are you guys moving?
It could be any type of data, really. So basically, we're like the antenna part, and then we're partnering with another company that's on the radio side to build an integrated system to help.
That's cool.
Move the data. Yeah,
that is crazy. So who is your guys' target audience, or who purchases from you guys?
So everything we're doing here at Freefall is in the prototype stage. Okay. We have contracts with certain people and certain clients, and under the research and development of what we're doing. There's two segments really of what we're doing. So there's the space side, and we were just at an awesome conference called SpaceCom. And so there's a lot of interest in what we're building, and it's basically a small inflatable CubeSat. So it'll go in space, and it fits in like a 1U or 2U size. So it's very, very small. Goes up and then inflates and then helps beam down a lot more data than what other satellites are doing. And the benefit of this is it's going to weigh a lot less because it's inflatable. So it inflates upon being in space. It's much smaller. It's going to cost a lot less. So everyone knows when you send things up to space, it's not cheap. And so this is a way to reduce costs, reduce the mass, and reduce the power, and actually get more data transmitting like from space back down to Earth.
That is cool.
So it's a very unique design, and I could show you later in the lab too.
Cool. So like right now, I mean, it's all 4G, right? I mean, kind of what's out there. What are some of the differences between 4 and 5G? Is there a difference in technology? Is it just that it transmits data quicker, or?
So from what I know, because we actually have a few people on our team that are the 5G experts, but really 5G is a set of standards, and standards that include, I think it's going to be about 10 times more data than transmitted faster than at 4G. So it's not just like a tiny step up. It's a big leap. Also with that is the frequency at which the data is going to be transmitted. So everything we're building here is very high frequency. So like 28 gigahertz is a very high frequency, and that's what our antennas are focused on transmitting at that bandwidth. And that actually is fantastic because Chris, our co-founder, when I was telling you, was talking about terahertz astronomy. That's in like very, very, very high frequency. And what's unique about what Freefall is doing is we're coming down in frequency, really, from what Chris was doing for space, where other say competitors or our carriers are trying to go up from 3G, up from 4G, up. But we have a very out of the box thinking. And so we're coming down to get to 28 gigahertz versus like the others are trying to get up to there. Yeah. It's because of Chris and Doug's background in space.
That's cool. Yeah. So what are, I mean, I think there's so much opportunity when it comes to 5G. Just, I mean, getting data quicker can just make the world more efficient and more intelligent. What are some of the things that you guys are seeing in terms of opportunity of what 5G could do for just the world in general?
As end users, we always want things faster and quicker, and when we like want to see a movie and it takes forever to download, or if there's any like hiccups in like that process, it's frustrating. And that's sometimes just for us watching a movie. But there's people like, say, for example, you know, one of our audience is like in defense, like in the military. They need data out on the battlefield in rural areas where it's hard to connect, so that their officer or whoever can give them the information they need at that moment. And that's like, could be life or death. Also think about connected vehicles and where that's going in safety. And you're in Phoenix, they're operating a lot more autonomous vehicle testing and all this, and safety is very, very important. And so staying connected to all of the kind of Internet of Things is important for all of our safety in general. And everything will be connected. I think we all know that, right? That's where everything's going. Yep. And so it's important that the transmittal of that data is really, really efficient and powerful. And what we were using before isn't going to work to get us there.
There's a lot that you just mentioned. Yeah. I mean, you're in marketing. Is there anything that 5G is going to bring for the marketing space? Or do you see any applications on the marketing side of things?
I was just at Mobile World Congress in LA, and it was a really big wireless conference. You know, for example, Verizon had an amazing booth with their technology. There was all these other booths. I think 5G basically just means we get the information we need as quick as possible. So it's a benefit to everyone. So for example, I saw this thing they're doing with almost like a Pokemon Go or something, but basically where there's a 3D object, you might know what it's called, I don't know, 3D, like an object here on the table. It's not really there, but through your phone, you see it's there. And then you can acquire that image, and in real time, it takes that can away from everyone else that's looking at it. So like not just not just putting stuff like this was a cool example as far as marketing, I thought. And this person explained it to me. She's like, what if there's a concert and you're like, I'm going to release 100,000, it's a lot. Like, say like 1,000 butterflies, okay? And if you capture 3 butterflies, you'll get 20% off your merch. And so basically with your phone, you know, you'll be able to capture these different butterflies, and then it will connect to people's POS system, and you get redemption back. You get 20% off like what you buy at that concert or something. So I think being connected, like being connected and having this real time, like just connected real time, so that happens. So literally I take that butterfly and now you can't get it. It's not in your view anymore. Like that really just happened. Dang. So I think that's for marketing. I see that's going to help with that.
That's going to be huge. I mean, just interactive marketing instead of just here's the sale that I have. It creates more of a relationship with your prospective audience and making it more interactive, which I think that's just a cool experience.
And on my end, I'd like to think about how that could help Free Fall, in the future. That's sort of interactive marketing and that kind of thing. This past year has been a lot of brand building, connecting with potential investors, partners. But I'd like to continue to learn more, just like you guys are, about what's up and coming and how maybe I can leverage that for what we're trying to do too.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys have been trying to work on the branding side of things. Kind of explain that process. What have you guys been doing? Sure. I mean, to me, that's huge. Just how a company positions themselves, what they look like. I mean, just brand identity is big. How have you guys gone about that?
It's funny because with branding, that's how I connected to Free Fall. And so it was really Tech Launch Arizona that referred them to me. They needed some help with logo design and some marketing and some trade show graphics. So 2 years ago, Tech Launch referred them to me. And so our relationship started out actually with kind of designing their branding as I was a contractor, actually. And so it went so well, and that's how I got connected to the company. And Free Fall went through the Tech Launch Arizona program, which basically is using research and technology that was developed with the U of A and then helping it turn into a possible business. So branding is my passion, and that's what I feel like I'm very strong in. And with Free Fall, there's a lot of education in the beginning. You know, my background is not in space, and it's not in 5G, you know, or telecommunications. But I think anyone, especially graphic designers and marketers, if you can ask the right questions, you can learn a lot about whatever industry you're trying to help.
Yeah, it's all about the discovery, asking questions, and getting a sense of the direction, what you're wanting to achieve, and stuff like that. No, it's really cool. When it comes to, I mean, just 5G, I think there's maybe some negative connotation out there just on health hazards and all that. Is that a myth? Is that true?
We're not worried about that. And actually everything that we're doing and testing like has to go through safety, you know, like government safety regulations and checks and like all that kind of thing. So we would never want to create anything that was harmful. And I'm here working near antennas all day, so I'm not worried about it. And our experts, Chris and Doug, too, have a lot of experience in this, and they're like, you get more, say, radiation from taking an airplane ride, which Doug has to travel a lot. So yeah, we're not concerned about
the
that.
whole just health hazard of 5G causing cancer and all that type of stuff. It just seems it's just more of just a bunch of headline readers and just not
I think
really
there's a lot to be discovered by it, but I think everyone that's working in this field will be doing the proper tests and making sure things are okay. You know, no one wants to put out something that's harmful to anybody. Yeah. The goal is we've been using microwave. It's basically microwave radio wavelengths for forever. And that's how we've been communicating in the past. So it's still that. It's just it's a different bandwidth. Yeah.
So yeah. Sure. I noticed on your LinkedIn you mentioned getting an Addy. Was that through here or was that your personal?
I've won a few Addy awards. Some of those were in the past for different projects.
Can you explain what?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I guess the one that I was most proud of was my passion project. So I created, they're called Desert Dwellers flashcards. And so I created them at the time to teach my son teach him the ABCs and also about local wildlife. So instead of like boring set of flashcards, I want to do something unique and basically combine all my passions. So painting and then design. And then I love animals and I love where I live. So I painted 26 animals, A through Z, you know, mammals and reptiles, and then put facts on the back, and I sell those. And so those won an Addy Award. And I was really proud of that because that was a huge project. It was my first, I'd say it's my first real product, from concept through painting, design, prototyping, printing, promotion, I mean, like everything. And I think that experience is how I can help other companies too, because I've been through it. And it doesn't mean I want to do all the different aspects still, but I know how to do it. So.
And like, what was the process getting that? I mean, I've worked at a couple agencies and they've won some stuff as well, but like, how did you go about getting your idea pitched? Like, what does that process look like?
Oh, that idea? Well,
yeah, getting the whole Addy. I mean, that's yeah. Do you reach out to
the Addies? The Addies are pretty self-explanatory, and I think they've changed a little bit, at least in Tucson, how they're doing it. But it's more like you include a sample of your thing, and they ask you a few questions, and then there's different judges that you don't know that come and judge your product or whatever you're showing. I think the great thing about doing something like that, and I just saw they're doing a call now for entries again, is just the exposure. And then at the event, they generally have your work out. And so everyone not only, like, they get to see what you do, even if maybe it's not a goal daddy or this or that, your work is usually, I think, still displayed. And so in the, like, for example, advertising community, that's really big to get the word out about what you're doing and what your capabilities are. Yeah. So it's very worth, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats to you. That's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
I mean, you have a design background. How important is, I guess, producing content, just content production? How far could that go for businesses? It's whenever you talk to small business and stuff, it's usually just costs too much. But what have you seen that works? And I mean, how important is creating content?
Sure. I think for Free Fall, some of the tools that have helped us is because we have new technology that's under development. So, for example, animations. I've been working with a local animation studio here. They're really good, and that's a great way to have a tool like that and that kind of content to show what our antennas are going to be able to do and where we're going. So everything's being worked on in the back, but they're not to, like, I can't sell you one at this second.
Yeah.
But through the animation, we can show what we're creating. So that's a huge tool and worth, I think, every penny. And not only do I feel like that, but like our president, Doug, and everyone just understands the value of having something like that. And then when we're at a conference, like, that's playing on a monitor next to me and I can point to it and talk to it. And people really get an understanding of seeing like what we're doing and how its use cases.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
How, as you guys move forward, I mean, have you guys been marketing at all in terms of just like paid media, or what have you guys been doing to really get the brand out there?
I think the past year or two, some of the things I've been focusing on is, number one, building relationships. So I recommended that Free Fall, we join the Arizona Technology Council, and that's a statewide organization that helps promote technology in Arizona, and not only just joining, but being an active member. So I'm part of Women in the Workforce Committee in Tucson, which is really fun. And we're creating programming for women in technology. And that's been one way I've been meeting a lot of people and they're understanding what we're doing. But also Doug is in a CEO group through the Tech Council.
Okay.
And I'm also I guess an ambassador now. They asked me to be on this board of ambassadors, and that's just supposed to welcome new members and help them connect to like what they want to help with or be a part of, because the Tech Council is so huge. There's all these different facets. Like, you could help with diversity, you could help with tournaments, that's a fundraiser or whatever. So through being really involved with that, that's how we now are going to be having our new office space, is through relationships through that. Cool. That's how we connect with like this other company that help us with these parts that we need for our antennas. So through being an active member of an organization is like one way that's really helped. A few other ones like that we've been involved with. There's a Space Business Roundtable in Tucson where we go. One of us at least goes every month. Doug's spoken at that before. Another organization is Startup Tucson. And I've been involved with Startup for, it feels like a long time now. And we were a part of 10 West Festival this past year, which you guys should come down for. It's really fun. It's focused on, okay, it's awesome. 10 West is actually about 10 days in Tucson. It's our like future South by Southwest, basically. Gotcha. But the focus is on technology, entrepreneurship, and now this past year was a whole day focused on creative. So I ran I did a program about branding, and just other creative stuff. And then another day was all focused on technology. So basically by day, it's kind of sectioned out. One day was all idea funding, which has been going on for a long time now, talking about raising, venture capital. Yeah. 10 West is really cool, and I'm excited to see where it goes next year also. That's cool. So the event that you just had, was that for here? The holiday event? Yeah. Oh, okay. That was actually for the Arizona Technology Council. And so Free Fall sponsored that event. And then our investor, U of A Venture Capital, that was their office building, which is this really historic kind of mansion in Tucson, owned by Linda Ronstadt's grandfather. So it's a beautiful place. And so we got to have the party there. And all the members from Tech Council and whomever could come, and it was really fun. It was a lot of people, but it was awesome.
So, I mean, the video was cool. It looked like it was a really good turnout. I mean, a lot of people mentioned it. It was really cool.
Thanks.
So as you kind of head into 2020, what are some of your guys' big goals? What are your ambitions?
I have many. So this is kind of cool. So not only with goals, I think the goals are important, but we just had a retreat and I put together like a top 10 of what did we accomplish this past year? And that was nice. And I felt like David Letterman or someone, like I wanted cards to throw, like top 10, but it was, we had a lot of excitement and opportunities that we won 2 different innovation awards and talk about marketing. Winning something like that. The one was up in Phoenix and it was a statewide like governor's celebration of innovation, and Freefall won Innovator Leader of the Year, startup company. Yeah, that's huge for us. That exposed us to everyone that came to that and up in Phoenix. So one of my goals is also, Southern Arizona and Tucson know who we are for the most part. So a goal for this next year is reaching more out to like the Phoenix area, building relationships up there. So I'm glad you guys are here, and then expanding from that. So I think we've done things the right way. Like we're here in Tucson. We really connected with our community. We're also going to be connecting continuously more with, we all have a passion for helping children and education and especially to me, females in STEM. So we're going to be involved with like a SheTech conference in March. Yeah. And that'll be Tucson's first one. So there's just fun things this next year. So expanding our reach. I wish I had my list with me right now. So I have 10 main things. Another thing too is I'll be working on the website. I built our website, and I think
nice. You did a great job.
Oh, okay, thanks. I think it's okay, but there's definitely a lot more I want to do. But you brought up content. That's something I do try to keep up with. So we were actually just in the paper yesterday here, the Arizona Daily Star, and so I'll take that today when we're done and put that on the website, and then use LinkedIn and Twitter to connect, to the article. And so I think it's trying to keep up on all this exciting news and share it and that kind of thing. So
no, you guys are doing a lot. That's really cool. So thanks. I mean, a lot of good stuff. What is kind of maybe the biggest struggle or hurdle that you've faced growing the company, and how did you overcome that?
Sure. I think it's very interesting marketing technology that's still under development. So everyone here, we are selling, our concepts, and we have prototypes, and there's testing backing up the great. I was looking because we're always showing slides of where we're going with our testing and our success stories, and but you're marketing more of a concept and an idea. Versus with my flashcards, it was do you want my flashcards? It's this much. Here you go. It's done and that's it. Where with what we're building, these antennas are very flexible depending on what use you want. So say it's an in-building antenna or something, that will be a little bit different than the one that's in space, obviously. So very different, but also based on the customer and what they want, there's a lot of flexibility with the design. So it's not a one-size-fits-all unit. And we don't think we'll ever be the ones just selling units out of here. We feel like we're more of a research and design company, building the ideas, connecting with customers, and partnering in ways like that, and then probably developing new, better ways to move the data. So that's one of the challenges, I think, with marketing something it's not just like a widget.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of education.
Yeah.
Bring up data quite a bit, and that's my favorite thing is just all the things that we do, help produce content, run Facebook, all that type of stuff. It's all backed off of data, and we reverse engineer our move forward strategy off of data. How do you guys go about to see what's working, what's not, and kind of
I feel like that's something that I probably need to do a better job of, actually. So a goal for me also in 2020 is to really look back and analyze. I haven't done a lot of we've done some campaigns leading up to these conferences we're going to. And this year we're going to also be having more special, say like demo events when to showcase what our antennas, where we're at and what we're doing and stuff. And so I think measuring like the success, and I guess I have done that, measuring the success of getting ready for this conference, like how many meetings did we get registered ahead of time, or how many, I guess depends what our goals are.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that for me personally as a marketer that I could always do a better job of. But it's also defining what's most important to focus on. Yeah. And especially as kind of a one person, I'm the only, I guess.
Wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah. And then in a startup too, I think we're all wearing a lot of hats. But most everyone here is an engineer, and I'm basically it's like the marketing, the PR, the design, the outreach, like all of that.
That's a lot.
All is one. So I have to be pretty, efficient with my time.
And how do you go about that? I mean, that's the biggest struggle, I think, for most. I mean, just small business, especially startups.
Yeah.
How do you go about managing your time?
Managing my time.
Do you have a process, or?
I think what I do is I tend to, I write everything down. And then I try to prioritize. That's a big thing, I think, because you could just, especially like, how I build the website, I could spend 3 days on the web, 3 days on the website. I think it's focusing on what's these top 3 things I want to do today. You know what I mean? And then also a big part of my job is, going to the right sort of networking or functions to represent Freefall. I want us to be in the room for important things, and be thought of. And that's top of mind. So just by you doing your post on LinkedIn, I'm sure sometimes you get a ping about something totally different, but because they saw you on their newsfeed, they're like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. So, and I feel the same way. I've had that where I'm at just a function in town and, oh, Julie, I forgot. And it's just because I was there. So, so that's a big thing is balancing the stuff I'm doing on the computer, but also the stuff I'm doing with actual people, like outside of,
Oh, you're good.
with actual people like outside of the company, not just being stuck like on the computer all day, but being out helping the community, getting involved, and putting my personal like time and effort into building up Freefall's brand.
Yeah, and it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of events, a lot of in-person stuff. How come that's such a big thing? And I ask because I think there's huge opportunity for companies to do more in-person events. I think it's a way to help build relationships. Is that something you guys are going to be doing more of?
We're being strategic about, for example, like conferences and stuff, and you probably know they cost so much money, and it's not just the booth cost, but it's like flying, say 3 of us, out to this location, and then the hotel, and then the extra marketing and promotion and the materials you're creating for that event. And so we're being really, really strategic, and we're probably only going to do about 4 main conferences this year, which is we've been doing like 2 or 3 maybe a year. And then as far as like local events, we get asked to do a lot of things, and sometimes we have to say no. But generally, I'm usually happy that I was there. There's usually some strange synergy that happens just from being at whatever and meeting someone new, and then you find out, oh my gosh, wait, you build this, like one of our engineers would love to talk to you. So even if it's not for like something in my world, I usually can connect the right people.
That's cool. What are some of the things to be mindful of as you kind of navigate the process of putting on an event? And I ask because we're actually putting on part of a team that's doing like a social media marketing day in Phoenix next year in June. And I've never put on events, and we're trying to get, between 100 and 150 people. And so how do you go about navigating that? What are the things to be mindful of when it comes to creating an event like that?
I feel like getting the word out quick, even if all the pieces aren't filled in yet, like getting that, like almost like a save the date out. So in people's mind, or like holding a date, you could even tease people like, hey, this is coming, next year. And kind of like a gist, like maybe a little tagline of what it's going to be about, and then building up to that. And you can still fill in all the pieces, but also thinking about what partners you can work with to help make the event better. We are actually planning, this will be big for us, we're planning on doing kind of a connectivity conference next year, which I think is going to be pretty big, and it's kind of the same thing. This will be kind of starting from scratch also.
Okay.
But it's thinking about what relationships do I already have, involving with that. And then even in town, like what venues do you know already? Or can you reach out to your LinkedIn? Sorry. You reach out to your LinkedIn network and say, hey guys, like what venue Phoenix would be great for 200 people? That would be modern and cool, and then get that feedback, So I think realize you don't have to all do it yourself, and you can put it out to that's why we have connections and networks and stuff. And it doesn't mean you're asking for free this or free that, but just brain power. Like, do you guys know of a cool place for this? Oh yeah, okay. And then you connect with them, and then, for example, that event, I'm kind of going on a tangent. That event for the Tech Council, we use local vendors, and my friend Alyssa's an event planner, and she connected me with like the right food place, and the right guy that does lighting. And I don't know all of those people. And so she was my connector for all of those things, and it helped make the event beautiful and like professional. People left very excited about what we're doing. So I would say the partnership piece is like one of the biggest things. And then from there, getting the word out, which sounds like you know what you're doing, like on that end.
Yeah. I mean, it's that I think that's the thing that trying to think through the most is just the logistics side of it. Yes. What are all the you don't know what you don't know, and just trying to, just navigate those waters.
It's overwhelming. And then I also, you tie it back into like with market, it's always like the benefit. So what is the benefit of these people coming to your event? What do you want them to walk away with knowing, and how do you want them to feel? And sometimes I think it'd be better to do an event not super long, so that they have that feeling of like, oh, I do want to know more. I want to connect with them again and dive in deeper, than that thing where it's just like brain dump too much information and you leave tired and you're just like, I just want to get a drink or get some ice cream or whatever you want to do. Like so you don't want to overwhelm people. So keeping it fun and interactive and also picking the right people for your presentations. I'm sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And how do you go about that? Do you like get on a phone and vet people, or because that's kind of, we're looking for a keynote speaker and stuff like that. And so how do you know if it's a good fit? Is it just,
I would say for example, when I help out 10 West, I basically asked friends of mine to help out and to be a part of it. And there were people I already knew their talent, but also their like speaking ability. But I'd say if it's someone really big that you don't know that well, like then I would definitely look online and see what sort of reel they have, and then also testimonials and that kind of thing. But I bet you guys know enough people that would have some strong recommendations. It's always easier to pitch someone if there's that connection, if you have some sort of like second connection or this or that, someone that knows them, and that gets you a lot further than just, to me, that like email from someone you have no idea who. That's why we met on LinkedIn, and that's why I'm a big, strong like user of LinkedIn.
How long, I mean, it seems like you're pretty active on there. How long have you been pretty active on LinkedIn?
I feel like as long as it's been around. I don't know. Really? Yeah, I've been on LinkedIn a really, really long time. One of the things I love the most, I've seen success not only for Free Fall, but like my other business with the flashcards. So instead of trying to, for example, it's how I had gotten into the Phoenix airport, like the flashcards in the Phoenix airport. But I saw this cool store and I was like, oh, they should be in here. And then I looked on the receipt and I found the name. And then I looked on LinkedIn and I actually found the CEO and I sent her just a quick little message, but also a link to my product. And I was like, I think these would sell, amazingly. And I love that you're a local business in the Phoenix airport. And then she actually responded back. She's like, send me a box. And like, that's how I got in. And I think that was way more successful than just a strange email, because LinkedIn, they see your face, they see your experience, they see if you have any connections. It just feels way warmer than like random soliciting phone call or a random email. That's why I don't know, I like it a lot.
That's cool. What are what are you seeing in terms of success? Like what's working, what's not? And I ask because it's like, I mean, you've seen some of our video clips, and what's crazy is like, I mean, we were just talking about it on the way up here, is like, I mean, most social platforms are pushing video quite a bit. Whenever posting videos, I mean, it'll get 50, 60 views, but like literally I've been posting more images and even just text and kind of testing the different types of content, and they'll get a few hundred views. And it's just crazy to see that video isn't getting pushed as much as other things. And what are some of the things that you're seeing that's successful on LinkedIn?
You know what I think? We just announced, so Alex Rodriguez is our new COO, and he just announced that. And then he put our video with the announcement. So we have this company overview video. We had to prepare very quickly for that award. Yeah. And I'd been wanting a company overview anyway, so I was really happy we had that. But I think it's really, if it's cool news. I mean, okay, honestly, I think it was cool news. So by him announcing, though, that he was at Vector Rockets before, which was a very cool startup here in Tucson. And unfortunately, things didn't work out, but Alex is now part of our team. So he was announcing he was our new COO. And between us, we have a lot of connections. I've never seen as many. It was like, said 10,000 views. It was something I've never seen in my life on LinkedIn. And we should look later if he's here and we can. It just blew my mind. So basically his announcement that he was CEO with like our video on there. And I think it was really about the announcement. It was his connections, being happy for him and being like, congratulations. And so I don't think it's always just video versus image, but I think it's also like, what's the gist of it? Yeah. And does it excite your connections to actually take action and say, oh my God, that's so awesome? Or is it just like, oh, that's cool? And they look at it and probably don't even like it, you know? So I think it's based on really what is being said. Mm-hmm.
I mean, LinkedIn, I feel like it's just picking up a ton of steam. It's crazy because, I mean, it is fairly older. I mean, it's not like it just came out a year or two ago. Yeah. And there's just, I think, so much opportunity. I think people on the business side, I don't know. It's just crazy to see how fast it's growing, I guess. Yeah,
I think it's a great tool. I'm actually going to I brought this up at the retreat. I'm going to be helping the engineers here with their LinkedIn accounts. And it's not to make more work for them. That's the last thing I want to do. They're focused on like testing and building stuff, but helping them build out their profiles. And because, everyone checks everyone out, on LinkedIn. Yeah. And so making sure everything's up to date on that. But then also when I share something on our Free Fall company page, all I want them to do is share it on their own personal page. Mm-hmm. And that generates so many more impressions and eyeballs seeing like what we're talking about. And that's, I think, an easy way that I can help all of our team be consistent and be on the same page, and then get the news out more about what we're doing amongst all of our personal connections that we have on there.
Oh, that's cool. What marketing channels are you guys using? Are you guys on LinkedIn, like running paid ads on LinkedIn, or has that all pretty much been organic?
Yeah. Being a part of a startup, we've gotten like venture capital funding, but we're pre-revenue. So everything we're doing is still, we're not like, there yet. So I'm constantly thinking of what can we be doing, that's efficient and that doesn't cost a lot of money and that has a good return, that sort of thing. So for Free Fall, the channels I find most beneficial are number one, LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. What we're doing is very B2B. We're not selling these antennas to just you as a customer, like at your house. This is something that another business will probably use or acquire or incorporate with what they're using. So LinkedIn is the best place to be for us. Oh, yeah. Secondary, I like Twitter a lot. And Twitter has been a good way to just share, like I was saying, like the news, like we were in the newspaper yesterday. So I shared that out last night. And then some of our connections there, like Arizona Spaceport Alliance, like shares our news. And so that's one way to share news, but also just like we're talking about how on LinkedIn, you can sometimes connect with people versus like just a plain email. Yeah. I think Twitter is another way when you want to reach the media. It's a lot easier to get a response from someone in the media on Twitter versus just an email. At least that's what my experience. Yeah. And so I'll try to send like a quick message and, hey, I think you might be interested. May I send you? And I'm like basically asking for permission too. Like, may I have your email just to send you this news that we have? And that's been successful. So I think LinkedIn and then Twitter. We are on Facebook. I don't think that's necessarily a top one for us, but I basically started it because Startup Tucson kept tagging us and we didn't have a page. Like they kept trying to tag us and I was like, oh shoot, because we were doing, Doug was speaking at Startup Coffee and then we hosted this other thing and I was like, all right, we should be on there. And so I am sharing some things on Facebook. So we do have like, a presence on Facebook, but I really feel like LinkedIn is where I'll continue to spend more time and use, I think, even better in 2020.
Have you done any of the, articles? Because I know that
I should be. Free Fall should be doing the articles, and we haven't.
We haven't either, okay. And so it's
I think it's a great. I think we should be doing that. That should be something that we do for next year. Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
What are some of the businesses that are using your antennas and everything like that? What kind of applications are they using it for?
So we have a ground station called the All Sky Antenna. We see that really helping a few things. So one, the data on the move. So basically, say if you're in a vehicle or you're on a ship or something like that, and think like you're on bumpy terrain and you could lose the signal a lot, sort of thing. The way we've designed this with this spherical reflector and then basically like a steerable beam basically helps people stay connected despite movement. And this antenna doesn't have to physically move. So you know how like a parabolic antenna on a house or this or that usually has to point towards like a certain antenna and has to like, and say if the wind knocked it off, you'd have to like move it again. Ours has no moving parts. It literally is staying still. It's just electronically steered to stay connected. Right. Yeah. So that for data on the move, we also see this being really great for helping people in rural areas have connectivity and can get data in places like where they don't normally have it, the infrastructure or cables or wiring. So that's one aspect.
What is just the not so much that businesses are doing wrong, but what is the biggest opportunity for companies to do to get themselves out there more? It's just more of if someone's trying to start their own business or in startup mode, what is the thing that could be done?
From my perspective, to help build your business is really to get out there and to not, and I talked about that about being involved with organizations. And I think I've had a lot of success over the past years being involved with the community and not just sitting behind my computer, but building awareness about like what I'm doing and then whoever I'm helping, like Free Fall, like what we're doing. Yeah. And then not just being one way about it, being like, listen to what we're doing. It's so amazing. Like really, I'm aligning with organizations like I believe in and I want to help. So say it's Arizona Technology Council. Like I want Arizona to be the next space state, which it can be. I want, with my illustration business, I'm part of Local First Arizona. Local First, their goal is to support local Arizona business. I mean, that's the focus, any type of business. Mm-hmm. And when you spend locally, you're helping your economy. You're helping your fellow person's business. Yeah. When you're sending something to a local printer or you're using a local animator, you're helping each other. Like you're helping your community. So I'd say for anyone with their business is getting involved and by you helping like your community and others, you get work back to you without even thinking about like, well, if I do this, I'll get that. No, it happens because you're out there helping, you're showing what you can do. And then you're top of mind for people and they'll think of you. They'll like, oh yeah, like for that thing, that was really awesome. And oh yeah, we should try that, especially for what you're doing. Like you help someone with something and then you're more top of mind than someone they've never met in their life. It's a trust thing.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think being authentic and just telling your story, just showing who you are and the value that you bring more so than selling, and the selling then happens. And I think being strategic with who you're partnering with and the why, I think it goes so far. And I think there's just too many companies that are just trying to sell themselves rather than build a community. And I think, if you just focus on the community aspect and really helping out the community, work comes your way.
Yes. And no one likes I'm sure you've been to different events and networking. No one likes I used to joke that like, there's a guy like, hey, can I get your card? And like, doesn't even really know what you do. And then I'm like, and then I always, in my head, I was like, oh, spam you later. Like literally they're just like, he just wants to spam me later, his stuff. Didn't even really talk to me. Doesn't even know like what I'm involved with. Like, so then you get an email from this thing trying to sell you something. You're like, I don't know you. You know what I mean? I don't even know what you're doing. Like, why are we? And so I think you don't want to be that guy. So doing everything the other way, where you're actually just like you're educating others about what you're doing, that's the way to go.
Yeah, actually caring. I mean, that's caring. That's good. Yeah, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Cool. And so where can people find you? Find you, the business, and yeah.
Okay, so number one, I'm on LinkedIn, since we talked about LinkedIn a lot. So Julie Bonner, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk to anyone about marketing or anything we talked about today. And then Freefall's website is freefallmovingdata.com. Freefall is also on, like I mentioned, LinkedIn and on Twitter and on Facebook. But we're right here in Tucson, and we're excited to move into our new office, and we're going to have a big, I'll invite you back. We're having a ribbon cutting kind of ceremony once we're all moved in. And so we're excited to show off the new space in the next month or two.
Cool.
Yeah, so happy to talk to anyone that's interested.
Cool. And then on a personal plug for your business, what is your personal business, and where can people find that?
Sure. My personal business is called Julie Originals, and on that website you'll find the Desert Dwellers flashcards I was talking about and some of my other art and designs. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram as Julie Originals, and Twitter. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate your time, and like I said, especially on Christmas week. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas and a great New Year.